Yubiest of the tubiest. The best YouTube subscribers on the planet. That's you. And I'm 50 plus one. Now, yes, you just saw a video with us wearing these same clothes, same day. Okay? We ain't nasty. Same day. But I went into the terminal again. So don't y'all think, that was a fluke. I went into the terminal. I said, hey, I'm gonna go to the house. I want to be at the house for a day and a half, something like that there. And I want to get out of Houston. And find me a load with some good miles on it, and I'll make it, and I'll make it work. Whatever time I gotta get out of there. Bing! Here you go. That load have how many miles on it?
1,108, I believe.
I'm gonna have to get you a microphone. What? How many?
No, 1,119 miles.
1,119 miles, but he didn't notice. What the empty miles was on that load. I'm not gonna say it, but you look it up real quick. Don't say it out loud either. But how many? Look right next to where the loaded miles is, and it'll be on the destination sheet.
Oh, 980.
Well, don't be telling. Shh. Now, if you add those two together, that's how much I get paid for that load. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But shh. Now, okay. Look, when you go into these terminals, or even you don't go into terminal, you just done with a load, and you're next. Okay. They're gonna look at your record. They're gonna look to see who you are as a person, as a driver. So when I get people on that comment and say, I'm been sitting, or I only get these itty bitty miles, and I know what the deal is, and I really wish that there was a way that I could ride with them for 2 weeks, because I could help them change the way their habits are, because that's what's holding you back. They look at my numbers. They know what truck this is. They don't have to say, well, that's 50 plus. No, they look at my truck. They look at my driving history. They look at my records. They know I'm going to be driving 600 miles a day. They know. They know. I love it when people recognize it, because it makes me feel good. It makes me, know that I'm doing something right, and that I'm not making any new enemies. But anyways, they look at who I am, look at what I'm doing, look at how I run, and then they find something that is gonna be suitable, that they're gonna need help with. Now, this load is reverse of what we're on right now. This is a T-call. We came and we T-called this load. We're at Lancaster, by the way, and we T-called this load, our current load, and we picked up a new one, and the new load is going to be a local. Listen, don't call me talking about they giving you've been sitting for 3 or 4 days and they give you a 100-mile load. The load we're about to get on right now is 22 miles. You think I care about that? I don't care. And it's a live unload when we get there. I'm gonna drive 22 miles, for a live unload. It's a T-car here at the yard. I'm gonna pick it up, drive 22 miles, and then probably sit there longer than it took for me to drive there. For sure, I'm gonna sit there longer than it took me to drive there for them to unload my trailer. You think I care about that? Hell no, I don't care about that. You know why? Because I took care of them. They take care of me. They send me to Houston. So why you tripping on that? If more likely than not, if you've been sitting for 2 days or so, and it's because that area has low freight, and then they offer you a load that's only 100 miles or so, and you want to turn it away. The theory behind that is, a lot of times is they are moving you. They're trying to relocate your truck to an area where there is freight. So you just have to work with them. Okay? So I'm gonna do this little old 22-mile deal. Why come they just can't just give me a load home? That's selfish. That's not a team player. So I'm gonna do the right thing, and that's why I never get turned down for anything I ask for. It didn't take me but to ask one time. That's it. One person one time, and it has always only took one person one time. They have always taken care of me every time I've gone into a terminal. Okay. So we're gonna do that little 22-mile deal, live unload, and then we go to a shipper and pick up a load. That load goes to Houston. Get me there earlier than my original load. So, hell yeah. Come on, man. Come on. Come on now. Work with them. And it'll work out with you. It'll work out for you every time. Trust what I'm telling you. Okay? Now I'm done with my rant. The reason we made this second video today is because I wanted him to trip plan our load out of Houston, and it's going to go to
North Carolina.
North Carolina. And the loaded miles is
loaded miles. It's going to be 1,119.
1,119 miles. The first thing that we're going to do is factor in at least 50 miles, okay, on that load. And I try to factor in between 20 and 50 depending on how big the city is. We don't have to factor in 50. We could even factor in like 20 for North Carolina. But let's say it was Houston. We would factor in. We could factor in 50 miles because you can actually drive from the north side of Houston. You're not even to when you enter the outskirts of Houston. 50 miles. You're not even downtown. Okay, so the loads are from city to city, not from shipper to receiver. So that could be, you know, I mean, I've been 100 miles difference between what I'm supposed to be getting paid for and what actual miles. Okay. And by the way, if it's better than 10%, then you just let the your driver leader know, and they will pay you the difference. They are very fair people. This is not a, you know, a theft involved company. Do I do that at every single? I don't think I've done it, but maybe once, because it was, you know, like 100 miles or something. But it's always 10, 15, 20 mile difference, something like that, between what's actually is you actually getting paid for city to city and actual miles. So you may think, well, you know, the fact is, if that happens to you at 3 loads a week, that means you're losing 30 miles a week. That means you're losing 120 miles a month times what you work. So if you multiply that by the year, it's a lot of miles. So will it add up? Yeah, it'll add up, man. But that's the way the industry works. But they do allow a cap for that, 10%, something like that. And then you can call and say, hey man, it's just not right. It's time for it. But it also has to be the route the Qualcomm sends you as well. Okay, you can't go out of route and say it was too many. Okay. On the other side of that, if you read your map, learn how to map read instead of going off everything the Qualcomm say, you can shave off some of that. Remember how we go up 80, and then I told you we're not going to follow Qualcomm. I want you to cut across 287, and then we're going to go around to 25, right?
That's right. And
it took like 30 miles or so off that run. I do that every day. I go from Salt Lake to Denver. Okay, so every time I go, I steal time. So you just need to be smart, knowing that's how this thing works. Okay, I'm just adding that little tidbit. So this is going to be a little bit of a long video. Okay, you see this spot right there? That's a stress spot. So I had to go cut my hand, get it cut down, and then my hand go back. I just look crazy. See that? That's because y'all stressing me. Some people get skin rashes and hives and stuff. But when I get a lot of stress, I get bald spots in my head. Ain't that crazy? You didn't know that about me, did you?
No.
Ah, no, it's brand new information. You probably thought I had a wing worm.
Learning every day.
Yeah, you probably thought I had a wing worm or something. Okay, look. So let's add 20 miles to that 1100 and who?
1119. Let me double check.
That sounds right. 1119. So let's call it 1140. Okay. So let's talk about what we want to decide is what time do we have to leave? What time and day do we have to leave the Houston terminal to get to our final on time? Okay. We also need to make sure that we have it's a live unload, wasn't it?
It was.
Okay, so we're going to give the receiver 2 hours to unload us, and we're going to give ourselves 2 hours to leave the shipper and park if that needs to happen. Okay, so we need to factor all that in. So basically what we're going to do is whatever time you're going to arrive that you need to leave the shipper, that time is the most important. Okay, so if the drop appointment, live unload appointment is noon, we want to start at 4 p.m. and work backwards. Okay, so talk to me about what you did in calculating. What did you do?
Well, I had us leaving on, where did I write it down?
Monday.
Friday the 26th.
Friday at what time?
At 8 a.m.
Friday at 8 a.m. We had to be there when?
We'd have to be there. I put noon.
Noon on Monday. Okay, so you want to leave on Friday at 8 a.m.
That's right. Now I only calculated 1 hour to park.
That's
so
fine.
2 hours.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so you want to leave at 8.
That's right.
a.m. on Friday. Then we're going to be there on Monday at noon. How many total hours is that? Not here, but on the clock. So you got Saturday and Sunday is already 48 hours, right? Those 2 days are given. Okay, and then you got 12 more hours on Monday. So that's what 60 hours right there.
That's right.
Okay, then Friday at 8 a.m. till midnight is 16 hours. No, 20 hours.
And I figured it for solo.
Right, but that's 20, so that puts us at about 80 hours. Okay, that's what you have right there, 80 hours, right?
That's right.
So go ahead and pencil in 80 hours at the top, and then talk to me about what you're going to do during that 80 hours, how that 80 hours is going to factor out. Okay, so we're going to start at 8 a.m. We're going to leave at 8 a.m., right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's start running. We're going to go 8 a.m. until when?
Until 6 p.m.
Okay, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 p.m. That's 8 hours. Now you got to take a 30-minute break, right?
That's right.
So write that down. What did I say, 3 p.m.? 4 p.m.?
4 p.m.
Okay, 4 p.m. is a 30-minute rest break. Okay? And after your rest break, you can only drive 11 hours. So that's, you've driven 8, so 9, 10, 11. So that puts you at 7:30, let's say 7:45 p.m. Okay, that's when you have to shut down. Okay?
Alright.
You got, we're gonna, for math purposes, we're just gonna call that 8, okay?
Alright.
And 8 p.m., 10 hours of break, you wake up at 6 a.m., right?
That's right.
So, that's, which day is this? This is Friday, right?
Friday.
Put Friday right there, and then we're gonna start over here with Saturday.
Alright.
So that's Friday. Okay, now Saturday we're gonna start at 6:30 a.m. and we're gonna run 8 hours. 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30.
Was a 30-minute break.
Then at 2:30 we're gonna take a 30-minute break. Let's say we started at I'm gonna give it 4 o'clock, so you have a little extra poo-poo time or whatever, okay? So 4, 5, 6 p.m. is when you're gonna stop. What was it? 3 p.m. here, right?
8 p.m. and then 6 p.m. on that day.
Okay, yeah. All right. That's a full day of running. So now this is Saturday, right?
It is.
Okay, so this is Sunday. All right. So Sunday, you're gonna start at so we said 6. So you're gonna start at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is when you're gonna start. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, noon. You taking your lunch break. So 1 is an hour. So okay, 1, 2, 3 p.m. Okay, what day is that?
Sunday.
Okay, so you shut down at 3 p.m. So that means at 1 a.m. you can start running. Okay, so and we got to be there at noon. 1 a.m. is 11 hours. So just say we're gonna get there at noon because you got to put that 30-minute break in there. So that's Monday. Okay, so you got right there. You got 3 full days of running, right? Based off of your original math before we start this video. Okay, so you got 3 full days of running, right?
That's right.
Okay, that's what you figured. So now I'm gonna show you a better way to figure this out. Okay, how many miles a day do you run? Can you drive?
600 miles.
There you go. Let's say catastrophe happens and you can only drive 500 miles a day. Catastrophe happen. And you have how many miles to run?
11, 19.
Okay, so you would only need then 2 drive days in an hour.
That's right.
That's right?
It is.
That's right. 2 drive days in an hour. 2 drive days is how many hours?
10 hours and 10 hours.
Right.
Put in the breaks.
Yeah. Well, it'll be 11 and 11 if you pushed it all. So the 10 is good, just in case you don't want to drive the full amount, okay? So let's just say you do 10 and 10 each day. I hope y'all can hear me. I'm starting to fade because I'm talking to him and I forget that I'm recording this, okay? So that is only 22 hours of driving, right?
That's right.
If you added 20 more for sleep, now how many you at? 44 hours at the most. But you factored in almost 4 days, which is almost 80 hours, right?
To get there early.
Correct. But you're gonna end in your way, you're gonna end up there days early. Days early, not hours, days. Okay? So this is how we're gonna trip plan. You're gonna trip plan to drive. You figure out how many hours it's gonna take you to get there. So you say 1,100 miles at 50 miles an hour, and then that's going to tell you how many hours it should take you to drive there. Okay?
That's right.
All right. And so, well, go ahead and do that with your phone, and we're gonna do some quick math here. Everything's reminding me that today is my daughter's birthday. Damn, I'm getting old. Okay, so it's 1,119 miles, and you're gonna divide that by 50 miles an hour. So that's gonna tell you that you're gonna be driving 22.3 miles. And just looking at it, you know the best you can get out of it is 2 days of driving, because you can only drive 11 hours a day. That's possibly, if you just watch that clock, bing, it took off, and then shut down at the exact moment, and then started up, bing, and took off again, and shut down at the exact moment. You can only get 11 hours.
That's right, for the 22 hours.
Correct. But realistically, you're not going to drive that, right? You can't. You can't, because you got to factor in parking. You can't, you know, hit 11 hours and your DOT clock says you are out of hours, and you just lock the brakes up and shut the shit down on the fucking freeway. You can't, excuse me, on the freeway, you can't do that. So you're gonna have to factor in the 30 minutes it might take you to find a place to park. You also got to do your post-trip and all that kind of stuff, right?
That's right.
So 10 hours. So 10 and 10 is 2 days, 20 hours. You still got three more hours of the next day. So you're talking 2 full days of driving plus another day with 3 hours. Okay, and you're there.
It's always good to plan early, because it could be cataclysmic weather or anything, because we've seen it just out of nowhere.
Correct.
This weather just starts pouring down on you.
That's right. So we add in 4 to 5 hours. Okay, so, and you can have that because you're gonna have a whole day with about 3 hours on that, so you can make that like an 8-hour day. Okay, so if you factor in that 8-hour day as Monday, so that means you got all day Saturday and all day Sunday to get there.
And now you're not feeling rest once you've got most of the trip knocked out. You know, you're
Right.
gonna be there early.
But see, the way the way you did it is kind of taught that way in school. And I'm not saying school is wrong, but because that's proper trip planning, realistic way. The realistic way is that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find out how many miles it is. You're gonna use 50 miles an hour, and then that's gonna give us how many hours it's gonna take for us to make that drive. Then you can start from a couple of hours after your delivery time, which would then, before your delivery time, which borrows you a few hours, just in case something goes catawampus. And then work your way back to when you need to start driving. And then you can start driving a little earlier than that if you want to even buffer in even more time. But if you try to do the math calculations and do it the way you're taught in school, chances are you need a perfect world for that to happen. And we don't live in one. Okay? So, and also, we're going to drive how fast?
50 miles an hour. We're gonna drive more than
Right.
This
truck is governed at 65, and every time the signs say we can drive 65, we drive 65. Okay? One other thing is to take in consideration. We're going to leave Houston in Central Time. What time zone is North Carolina?
Eastern time zone.
There you go. So when you cross the time zone, you're going to lose an hour. You got to make sure you factor those things in as well. Okay? So we need to leave Saturday morning. Right?
That's right. I had Friday, but
Right.
I'm going to get there before you.
Yeah, you're going to get there before me. You get to go party, right? You're not late. That's number one. But we have a problem Friday leaving at 8. You know why?
Because we're not going to be available.
Correct. We're not going to be available because our delivery is 6:30 in the morning. There's no way we're gonna get a live unload at 6:30 in the morning. Then drive to the pickup, pick that load up, and leave in the time frame there. But that was not a bad attempt, because what you did was the way you was taught to do it in school. But we're gonna simplify it with just general math. We're gonna key is how many miles is it? Then if you want exact miles, by the way, you can use your Google Maps and take you from the address of the shipper to the address of the receiver, and you will see how many actual miles it is, and it'll help you get a lot closer. Okay, don't use your Google Maps as a road map to get there. However, you're just using the numbers, okay? Because it's going to have more. It's going to be larger number on your Google Map, because it's going to actually take you to the address. You see what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
Right. And other than that, we're going to get the miles. We're going to divide it by 50 mile an hour, so we can find out how many hours it's going to take of drive time, and then you then break those up into amount of miles that you can drive in a day, and then that's how many days it's going to take you, and then realistically determine what's your average miles per day. With me, when I look at that, I know it's going to take me 2 days. If it's 1,200 miles, it's going to take me 2 days, because I'm going to drive 600 miles a day. Period. I'm going to drive 600 miles a day. Only way I'm not going to do that is if something happens to the truck, which I can't control. Something happens to the weather, which I can't control. Something happens to the traffic, which I can't control. So the only reason why I'm not going to get there when I know I'm going to get there is something beyond my control. Follow?
I do.
Good deal. So that way is a lot simpler, isn't it?
It is. So a whole page worth.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah, a whole page worth, but it really only takes that much page. Okay, you just need to back into it, and also know yourself. Know how many miles you're going to drive a day. Physically, how many miles can you drive? Okay, and how quickly can you get those miles covered? You know, when you first get started, you want to push for that 50. Say I can do 600 miles. I'm gonna get there, and you get there. You drive 600 miles, and you use your entire 14 to do it. Great. Keep going, because eventually it's gonna take you 13 and a half hours to do 600 miles, and keep going. Don't give up, because eventually it's gonna take you 13 hours to get there. But keep going, because eventually it's going to take you 12 and a half. You see where I'm going with that? You see? Okay, because you're going to need less rest breaks, less times to stop, because you're going to build up the stamina to do it, to make it happen. Okay. So, but know yourself, know what it's going to take for you to do it, because if it's going to take you the whole 14, not the 11, you're going to have to calculate 14-hour days, not 11-hour days. Okay, and I'm talking about drive days. Okay, so if it's 1,200 miles, you want to drive 600 miles a day, you may have to factor in 24 hours, because you're going to need 28 hours, because you're going to need 2 whole 14s, when I'm going to factor in 22 hours, because I'm not going to do all that goddamn stopping. But I have got the stamina built up. You will as well. Okay, right on. But we gonna cheat, by the way. We gonna cheat. I'm gonna let him drive until he get his hours wore out, run out. This is 11, and then I'm gonna get right here and I'm gonna forward some more. Okay, because that's my goddamn hometown. I want to spend some time with my wife, so we're gonna stay home for a while. We ain't gonna spend the whole 2 days. We're gonna leave out Sunday, and we're gonna be there Monday at noon. You know why? We know how to do it, big dog.
Yeah, I'm getting used to the 600 miles, and it's nothing. So
it's nothing. We're gonna knock it out. I hope you got something out of it. If you don't, if it's something that I skipped over, I went too fast, or you didn't understand, put it down there. You know I'm going to get back with you. I always do. Okay? Here's your boop. It's hot in here. Okay? It's good. So, deliver undistracted and hopefully not full of sweat like I am now. Boop.